What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sports Dép Podcast on this lovely Friday. My name is Joey Alfieri with Simon Tsalikis. Simon, what's going on?
What's going on, Joe?
What is that? What am I looking at? On your right, yeah. Oh, okay.
My microphone.
Oh, the mic.
Got a mic.
Okay, fancy.
I usually have it a little bit out of the picture.
Right.
But I thought maybe, I don't know, you hear me good?
No, I hear you very well. Yeah, no, I hear you super
Last
well.
time, yeah. Okay, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it sounds, your voice sounds as buttery as I've ever heard it, to be honest.
Like John Legend.
Sure, if you say so. I would rather say like young Luciano Pipia. That's a very inside Montreal joke.
I know what that legend is. Absolutely.
Luciano Pipia is a legend, and he has maybe the silkiest, smoothest voice I've ever heard in my entire life. Anyway, we've got a busy episode. Obviously, last night Montreal Canadiens lose to the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres, Simon, I'm just going to say it. Like, they went from bad to really bad to really, really bad to bad to really, really bad. And all of a sudden, like, they're a pesky team. Like, they've made some nice little moves. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, I remember at the time, like when Josh Doan got drafted by Arizona, I was like I remember watching. It was early in the second round, and I remember watching the coverage of the draft. I think it was NHL Network, and they were like, "Wow, this is a little earlier than we would have thought that he would have gone." And I was like, "All right, this is a nepotism pick or whatever." But they end up giving him a 7-year. Was it like $6.75 million a year? The Buffalo got him, obviously. And he's played really well out there. And obviously, Tage Thompson is a beast. But they've got a lot of really good players. They have a good defense. They're getting some saves. And all of a sudden, I mean, this is a really tough out. This is a really good team.
Yeah. And look, Joy, I kind of like the way that blue line is taking shape. And it should be taking shape when you have, I think it's 2 former first overalls back there. But it's kind of taking shape. I think kind of similar like the Canadiens. I think they're just a little bit different when it comes to the progression up front. Probably looking for some stable goaltending as well. But I was out today watching. I was out last night watching the game with some friends, and we're just trying to figure out when's the last time a GM change turned a franchise. Like, what is going on here, like, dude? And what do you say to the former GM? That's a squad. Every one of those guys, every one of those acquisitions, every one of those trades, every one of the so it's just really bizarre. Look, somehow, some way, about 20 games ago, they flipped the switch, and pesky Joe, high compete level. There's a lot of teams that maybe teeter between the pestiness and the nastiness, and I don't think that I don't see nastiness. I just see a team that's going to forecheck. They're going to play to the whistle. You saw Bolduc get inside on that breakaway, and he nudged Montembeault. He knew exactly what he was doing, and a little bit of Wolfpack mentality by the Buffalo Sabres. So good on them. We'll see if it lasts. I think they'll. I'm not buying it. Not that the Canadiens' goaltending is stellar or anything like that, but a little bit concerned if I was Sabres fans about their goaltending, at least for now. Maybe they do have their goaltenders of the future, but they just need to make the next step.
Right.
But Tuck and Thompson, they're big. They lean on you. They can skate. They do a lot of things. You mentioned Doan as well. So good on them, man. Good on them for turning it around. But again, firing a general manager and turning it around is something I've never seen in my life.
Yeah, I know, it's a little crazy. It's a little out there, and they've done some weird things. Like they decided to bring back Lindy. Like when I think of Lindy Ruff, I think of the Buffalo Sabres. There's no doubt about it. But they bring him back all those years later, and it's not typically something that you see really often. I think you see it with the Montreal Canadiens just because sometimes they didn't have a better francophone option than bringing back Claude Julien or bringing back Michel Therrien or whatever. But, from the other teams in the NHL, it's super rare that you go back to the well like that so many years after that. But they did, and, I mean, credit to Lindy Ruff. They're having them play well. I just – the part that I can't help but shake is that, I remember a time when Sabres fans were criticizing the Pagulas because – the ownership group, like, all they care about is the Buffalo Sabres, the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills are going well, and the new stadium and all that stuff. And like now, the Buffalo Bills, after that press conference, I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago now, on Wednesday, trying to explain how the GM gets promoted to VP of football ops and how the head coach gets fired. They're being ridiculed in NFL circles, and everything's going well with the Buffalo Sabres. It's like both can't be good at the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy if you think about it, right? Like they just waited forever. But look, I think the give a damn meter for the Pagula family is pretty high. I think it was last year that he met the club at Bell Center, and supposedly
that's right. I forgot about that.
He showed up to a morning day skate or whatever, and I don't know what happened there. I don't know whether he chewed them out or said that the answers in the room and all that stuff. But look. You want a healthy franchise, owners own, general managers manage, and coaches coach. I think you're good. Right now, I think the Buffalo Bills, I think, Joey, the shot that they're not being able to come back from is that they felt that this was their year in the AFC. And then after you put everybody in front of a microphone and they start to say silly things and they buckle. But
weird press conference. It's crazy.
Yeah, very weird. Look, the Atlantic Division is stacked. There's a lot of quality hockey teams. The Buffalo Sabres have put themselves in that position. I think right now they might be 1 point back of the Canadiens with one game in hand. So you look back to the Habs last Saturday, how big were those 2 points in Ottawa? Well, they're big enough to keep the Sabres at bay. If not, we'd be talking Friday here that the Canadiens were in wildcard spot number 1 and now in that top 3 spot in the Atlantic. And I think we should get used to this, man. I think the division is too competitive. There's going to be nights that you're just going to look like you don't belong, and there's going to be other nights that you look great. The parity is as complex in this division as any division in all of hockey. Tomorrow night, Saturday, versus the Boston Bruins. These are 4-point games, Joey, right across the board. Every night seems like it's a 4-point game, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just like right now the way the Sabres play. I mean, I feel like the Canadiens don't match up well. Obviously, I mean, I've got the 2 losses and back-to-back in the same, in a week, fresh in my mind. But I think it was you mentioned it the other day with Jason Demers the other day. Montreal somehow was like 7-0 against Florida in the last little stretch there. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's just like kind of a matchup thing where you're just not, I'm not hitting the panic button by any stretch. I know their first period was disappointing, and that's what ended up sinking them because they did battle back in the second and they made it close, made it a 1-goal game going into the third. But, I think there's no reason to panic. It's just I don't want to say panic, but the worry comes from the fact that everything is so condensed and that, you lose a couple to a division rival and all of a sudden it's like, you really feel the heat because they're right on your tail. It's like it's crazy because there's almost no margin for error. And I feel like it's the NHL. There's 82 games in a season. Everybody's going to have errors. Everybody's going to have tough stretches. It's just going to be about limiting the length and time that you struggle. And that's what I think it's going to come down to. That's going to be the difference between finishing top 3 in the Atlantic or finishing in a wild card spot or flat out missing the playoffs.
Yeah. That's well said. It just you got to start playing to your strengths, right? A couple of things from that Buffalo game, you got to get productive on that power play again. Great passing, great skill set, great all these things. Got to start capitalizing on those opportunities. I think there's got to be some more pucks to the net. You look at yesterday, the special teams hurt you, right? You gave up that penalty kill, shorthanded goal, and then Laine Hudson with a little bit of a bobble at his own blue line, and I think it was Tuck who got that breakaway as well. Montebo did make the save, but not a lot separates these teams. Look at the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think they've picked up something like 27 out of their last 31 points, and they can't shake the Red Wings, and they can't shake the Canadiens, right? So that's how tight it is. And you got to be very wary if you're Martin St. Louis or any coach, whether it's Cooper or whoever else. A 3-4 game slide right now puts you in a tough spot. So coach going to have to figure things out. Joy, just go back to that first period yesterday, Kirby Dach, they put him out there immediately. I know that Sean Campbell and I on 690 went back and forth. Sean would have liked to see them ease into the lineup. I said, no, put them out there with your 2 best offensive players and see how it goes. And if you want to pull back towards the end of the Minnesota game, then so be it. Didn't look good in his second game back. Now it's going to take a while for him to get his legs going and stuff like that. But, that question mark up there again, who plays with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, is just 2 games. It's a very small sample size. But I think the coach right now is looking for answers there as well.
Well, assuming Texier is available to play in Boston, I think they might go back to that, but obviously not ideal when right off the opening faceoff you get scored on like 45 or 46 seconds into the game, and you're chasing the game from that point.
You can get scored on that. It's an odd man rush. Odd man rush 45 seconds into the game. So that's a tough one for the. I think that's a tough one for the coaching staff to swallow there. The odd man rush to open up a game. I guess you can sit there and tell Montembeault's got to make a stay there, but odd man rush, like, what are you going to do? Good pass, good shot. Shooter's going to win most of the time if those two things play themselves out.
Okay, we'll get to Habs Infinity question of the day. We're going to debate whether or not Carey Price deserves to have his number retired. That's the question that they've submitted to us. That's the question we'll answer. That's a new partnership. Sure. If you missed our episode on Wednesday, we're going to be doing these Habs Infinity / Sports Dép questions of the day. You can follow Habs Infinity on Instagram. You can find us on Instagram as well, Sports Dép Pod, and they're at Habs Infinity. They have some great, unique, and original Habs content with some cool contests as well. So we'll have our question of the day in just a few minutes, but I want to go. I don't know if you were. I know you said you were out watching the game, so I don't know if you caught the. I don't know if you caught the intermission, Simon. I don't know if you were watching on RDS.
Visually,
Francois Gagnon, who's a Hall of Fame reporter, is reporting that the Canadiens are very much open to trading Patrick Laine away. Now, with that being said, he's missed a lot of time. He hasn't necessarily been overly productive when healthy this year, and now they're looking to make a move. Now the thing is, Francois Gagnon is talking about having to eat half the salary, which isn't necessarily such a bad thing because his deal expires on July 1st, so it's not like you'd be eating salary for a lengthy period of time, but that you'd also have to include a sweetener, which is interesting just because, Canadiens fans were freaking out. I think you and I were both surprised when that deal was announced a couple of years ago when the Canadiens got a second-round pick with Patrick Laine for Jordan Harris. Now it sounds like you're going to have to do the same thing. This news doesn't shock me in any way. I'm just curious if, what you make of all this.
Yeah, so look, Joey, I think he's ready to go, honestly, and they're just not putting him in the lineup. Like, I'm pretty certain I saw it make its way on Twitter or X there, that footage from the Habs practice that he was in a regular in a regular practice jersey. So you're in a regular practice jersey, you're practicing with your team. At some point, you need to squeeze him in the lineup. I just don't think this coach thinks he fits to what he's trying to do. I don't know, Joe. Maybe now with if Texie is still out, and you gave Doc a look on that top line. It wasn't too long ago he gave Bolduc a look on that top line. You want to bring Patrick Laine and maybe give him an opportunity to get on that line. Maybe he can find something that, he is not going to continue to pass the puck on the power play, where they're looking for a little bit more, less creativity and more shots. Can he fill that void? Maybe. I was in on a TSN 690 on Thursday, and my question of the day, hot topic of the day, was over under 6.5 games for Patrick Laine in a Canadiens uniform between now and the end of the season. My boy Sean Campbell not having it. Well over, he said. Over. Most of the text messages came in. Over.
I think so too. I think you're gonna have to play. I think you're gonna have to play him, Simon, just to get some value. And I think obviously the longer you have him, the less expensive it's gonna be for somebody to take him on, right? Like it's gonna be less money. Less cap hit.
I'll go on a little bit of a. I think he's gone before the trade deadline of the Olympics.
The trade deadline, but that's like next week.
The freeze. I think there's a freeze.
Yeah, but that's next week, no?
Yeah.
You think he's gone by next week?
I think so. I don't, Joe. I don't think he resonates with the head coach. I don't think that's the brand of hockey.
Yeah, but that's fine, Simon. But I'll be honest with you on this one. Like, this was my number one topic going into the season. Is like I was looking at what they had, and I never make a big deal out of it because no one's ever going to be healthy at the same time. But to me, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really know where he fit. Like, I'm trying to find a spot for me. Like, really, you're going to skate this guy on the fourth line? Like, that's what you're going to do? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think.
I think they move on from Joey. They might have to swallow salary. They do have that. I believe the Philip Danault was their, or it wasn't their second-round pick. It was the better second-round pick. So they still have a second-round pick.
It was Columbus. Yeah, it was the one they got for Laine.
Yeah, exactly. So they might have to sweeten the pot, but I think I don't think the coach has a spot for him. And if Kent Hughes says, listen, I'll eat up some of the salary, but at this point it allows Kent Hughes to be active at a trade deadline or leading up to the Olympic break. Maybe eating up half the salary, but it's okay because he's got an eye on a player that, maybe acquires a player and have his salary on your books.
Right.
So I don't know, Joey, where's the spot for him on this lineup? Like, you going to put him out there with Jake Evans and Brendan Gallagher and Phil Deneau and Josh Anderson? The guy's a shooter, man. And those guys are bottom six guys who compete and play hard and try. But Phil Deneau and Jake Evans and Brendan Gallagher have their own scoring woes. And they're not guys that are like
Gallagher came close. I thought Gallagher scored. I thought he scored.
Rang off the bar there, yeah. So, Josh Anderson, I'm not going to be overly critical. I think his goal totals so far is not bad. If you can, squeeze a goal here and there, he gets that number prorated to 20. But you're going to put Patrick Laine on a line with guys who are more defensively sound and guys that are in shutdown roles. I just don't see it.
Yeah, it's tough. And it's just like it's a weird situation because, like, what are you going to do? Like, you're not going to play him at 5-on-5 and you're going to put him on the power play only. It's like it's kind of a weird way to
and the power play, against the Sabres wasn't great because it didn't score, right?
Yeah.
But it's last time I checked, it was top 5, top 7, whatever it is. It's a very respectable power play. So it's not like, last year when he came in, the power play was abysmal. And then he joined the power play and what was it? A hat trick in one game against I forget who, and he got the power play going. Well, right now you don't really need the power play to be going. It's inside the top 10. It's a good power play. Like, is this guy going to shoot it up to 1 or 2? Again, maybe he does, but where do you find him his 5-on-5 time? You're going to play with 11 forwards up until it's power play time? I can't see that happening.
I didn't see, and I'm going to be honest with you. I liked the trade. I thought it was worth the risk. And truthfully, like Simon, I mean, the Canes got a 2nd-round pick, but there's 2 years left on a deal that pays him $8 million a year, right? Like, I don't think you have to give up a second to get rid of him now. Like, to me, in total transparency, I think it would be less than that.
It's just how desperate you want to get him off the books.
Yeah, but I also don't think this is going to be done next week. Like, I don't.
If you have a player that you've identified, you've had conversations with that general manager, and now you need to move money out of your lineup, then you might sweeten the pot for somebody to just take the finances off your books to slide in whatever player you've identified. That's a scenario that may happen.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think it's one of those situations where, again, I don't think this is earth-shattering news, and credit to François Gagnon for going public with it and getting the scoop, whatever, that they're open to dealing it. But I don't, this is not shocking to me. It just, because to me, it just never fit. So it's hard for me to blame Martin St. Louis when I don't have a solution either. I didn't have one in June, July, and August. I certainly don't have one now. To me, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit anywhere, and I understand why the coach thinks that, because I don't know. I don't know.
I had him fitting at the beginning of the year. Like, I had him on a line with Doc and Newhook because I didn't
make
know
sense
that,
to me either.
Yeah, because I did not know Kapanen is going to be a Calder Trophy finalist, right? But now you've seen, Demidov and Kapanen.
He won't. He won't be.
He's not on that line. Again, on that top line, if you want to put him out there, I just don't think it works with Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Patrick Laine. It's not. I hope it does, but I don't see it. And then on the bottom 6, it's just there's nothing there. There's nothing there for him. There's no spot for him there.
All right, Tsalikis, stick around. When we come back, Simon's going to answer the Habs Infinity question. I will too, but Simon's going to tell us if Carey Price deserves to have his number retired. I have very, very strong opinion on this, and I'm curious to know what you have to say, Tsalikis. So hang tight. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. All right, it's time for our Habs Infinity Sports Dép question of the day. Follow the nice people at Habs Infinity on their Instagram page. They've got lovely graphics, lovely topics, and a great community of followers that are very engaging on social media, and we're happy to do this collab with them. Okay, their question of the day, Simon. I don't know how we're going to answer this. The whole point of this is to do it in a short amount of time. But the question is an interesting one. Do you think Carey Price's number will be retired? He'd be the first to not win a cup and have his number in the rafters.
Patrick Roy, Carey Price.
I think you won a Stanley Cup, yeah.
Yep. Those are my 2 favorite Habs goalies ever.
Jacques Plante, no? You weren't around for Jacques?
No.
You weren't around for Jacques?
No. So shout out to Jose Theodore as well, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Joy, I'm strict. I'm strict when it comes to access to the Hall
Our
of Fame.
trophy, Tsalikis.
I know. I'm strict to getting into the Hall of Fame. I'm strict when it comes to the rafters at Bell Center. To me, are not for great. They're almost for beyond that. It's almost, to me, legendary. It's a tough call. It's a tough call.
What more do you want from this guy? You want a cup? I understand, but
It's
did he have
tough.
teams to win a cup?
No, I know it's hard. I don't want to hold it against him. I think he's, in my lifetime, he's the second best Canadiens goalie. But, he's got the Hart Trophy. He's got the Vezina Trophy as well. I don't know if you could bring in the Team Canada stuff. It's tough. I'm very strict. Like, I say this honestly. Like, there's even guys in the rafters that I'm not sure should be in the rafters. And I'm not going to say it because they live in the city in and around me. So I don't want to run into them. I'll leave it alone. It's a tough call for me, Joey, but I want to keep the rafters for rarefied air.
But Simon, how much more rarefied do you want? The guy came in at 20 years old and was a staple in the Canadiens net for years and years and years. I know you need a cup.
I don't know if you need a cup. I don't know if you need a cup.
But so then one more. The winningest goalie in Canadiens history.
Yeah, okay. But
won a Hart
yes,
Trophy.
I get.
Got them to a Stanley Cup final.
Yes.
Got them to an Eastern Conference final. Got knocked out in Game 1. What are we talking about here?
Fine.
31 has to go there.
You
know what
win.
else is a travesty? You know what else is a travesty? That he didn't get into the Hall of Fame on the first shot. That's a first ballot Hall of Famer. That
First
didn't
ballot
get
Hall of
He's a
Famer.
first ballot Hall of Famer, and it's disrespectful that they didn't put him
Well,
in
it
on
was
the
a good
first
class.
try.
It was a good class.
That's fine. I'm not saying that
Listen.
it wasn't a good class, but it's the Hockey Hall of Fame, which means you need to consider everything. You need to consider
Junior.
World Junior. You need to consider Olympics.
yes.
You need to consider all levels of international hockey, what you did at the NHL level, and it's not.
Fine.
It's not.
You win.
Well,
Put it.
I'm
I
just
get-
telling you,
No, listen, you make-
Simon. But I'm
you
just
make great
telling you,
argument.
like
You
he
make-
didn't play goal. He didn't play goal. No disrespect to the people in Arizona. He didn't play goal in Arizona.
No.
Guy played goal in the city where it's probably hardest to play goal ever. Harder
Anyway.
than Toronto.
Only other place harder is playing quarterback for the Cowboys. That would be it.
Sure, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about goalie, and I'm just
Listen,
saying.
I
I
don't
think
have-
31 needs to go up there. He's a slam dunk Hall of Famer. The guy won at every level. He didn't win a cup. I can't hold that
I don't know
against
if it's
him.
just a cup, but
I played with a 1 point a game player his whole career, man.
Alex Kovalev, shout out. Over a point a game that year, I think. It was 84. Big year for Kovalev.
Like, don't get me upset here.
All right, fine. All right, okay, put it.
Rarefied. How much more rarefied?
But I want it. Like I do believe that the banners at Bell Center are much more difficult than get into than the Hall of Fame.
We agree. But I think he merits it. I think he
Okay.
deserves it.
All right, you convinced me.
Okay.
All right, I'm fine.
All
with
right.
that.
That's it for the Sports Dép Podcast.
Also, I want
yes.
good guy, great commercials. Love
He's
the
doing
cowboy
French
hat.
commercials now.
This guy's everywhere. I love
He's
it.
doing French commercials, which is awesome. Good for him.
Could he pull off Phillip Rivers?
I don't know that the knee would allow for
That'd be
I don't know if
amazing,
the knee
though.
would allow for
No
that. That would be wild.
disrespect
But you
to
would
the
have,
guy.
I mean, you would have to do it in San Jose, technically, because
Yes, you're right. I
you would have
forgot
to do it
about
in
that
San
part. Yes.
Jose because
I forgot.
hey, the San Jose Sharks in a wild card spot. I mean, hey, something
Maybe
happens.
what happens? This guy pulls out in a San Jose Sharks like the same jersey
Goodness,
that I had
no.
with the Pat Falloon in the back.
Okay, but this is a different
That's
topic
it.
for a different day. But that's it. That's it for our Habs Infinity Sports Depth question of the day. I've won Tsalikis over. He finally
did.
realized that 31 needs to go in the rafters. Thanks for watching the show. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll be back on Monday with another episode of the Sports Depth Podcast.